My name is Adaeze, and this is my story. I once lived a life filled with love, comfort, and happiness. My parents gave me everything I needed, and our home was full of joy. But all of that changed so quickly, and I was left to face a life I never saw coming. Now I carry the scars of betrayal and loss, shaped by the harsh reality that life threw at me. There were moments when the pain felt too heavy to bear, but I kept pushing forward, finding strength in the darkest places. This is not just a story about what I lost, but about the courage it took to keep going, even when it felt impossible. It began on a day that felt as ordinary as the rest. The sun cast a golden hue over the world, unaware that it was to witness the start of my undoing. I was at the car wash where I saw Chibuzo for the first time. He was tall and handsome with a kind smile. There was something different about him. He seemed confident but in a humble way, like he had faced so many struggles but wasn't afraid to dream big. We talked for a bit and I felt like he saw me for who I really was, not just a rich girl. I kept going back to the car wash just to see him. Chibuzo told me about his life. He was a university graduate, but he hadn't found a good job yet. He was working at the car wash to make ends meet. I admired his determination and we grew closer, sharing stories about our lives. I wanted to help him, so I asked my father if he could give Chibuzo a job at his company. At first, my dad wasn't sure. "Are you sure he's the right person, Adaeze?" he asked me. I nodded and said, "Yes, Daddy, I believe in him." Soon, Chibuzo got the job and everything changed. We became even closer and our friendship blossomed into love. We didn't care about coming from different backgrounds, we were happy. When we decided to get married, my parents were worried because Chibuzo wasn't from the same social class as us. But I believed they would come around once they saw how good he was. A few months later, after we got married, something terrible happened. My parents died in a car accident. It was the hardest thing I had ever faced. I felt so lost without them, and suddenly I had to take care of the company all by myself. I needed Chibuzo more than ever. At first, he was there for me, but then, little by little, things began to change. Chibuzo stopped coming home on time, he would stay out late, and sometimes he would disappear for days without telling me where he is. I kept trying to talk to him, hoping things would go back to the way they used to be. But he didn't seem to care. It was like I didn't exist anymore. I felt ill from all the stress and loneliness. I thought this would make Chibuzo realize how much I needed him. But he barely noticed. He didn't care about my health, and to make matters worse, he stopped paying for the children's school fees. I was left struggling to keep things together, doing everything I could to provide for our kids and keep up with the business. The more I pleaded with him to remember our love, the more he shut me out. It was as if I no longer existed. It hurt so much to be ignored by the man I once trusted with my heart. And soon, I found myself slipping into depression. My days became a blur of sadness and endless questions. Why had it changed? Was it something I had done? The weight of it all felt unbearable. Then, one evening, while I was going through some company documents, I made a shocking discovery. The company accounts were almost empty. The business my father worked so hard to build was collapsing, and it didn't take long to realize that Chibuzo had drained the fund. He had used the money for his secret investments. I confronted him with the evidence, hoping for an explanation, but he didn't even flinch. "Your father's company was already failing," he said casually. "I was just trying to secure our future." "Secure our future?" I cried, my voice breaking. You have ruined everything. How could you betray us like this? He remained cold. It was just business, Adaeze. The betrayer stung deep. It wasn't just about the money. He had gambled away our children's future. But nothing could prepare me for what happened next. Chibuzo came home one day with another woman. Her name was Amaka. She was young, beautiful, and confident. I couldn't believe it when he introduced her as his new wife and said she was pregnant with his child. It felt like my whole world had crumbled. The man I had loved and trusted had betrayed me in the worst way possible. That was the final blow. I knew I couldn't stay any longer. I had to find the strength to move on for myself and for my children. I packed our things, took the kids, and left the house that had once been a place of love. With the support of some of my father's old employees, I started to rebuild my life. I put my energy in reviving the company, though it was far from easy. There were many times when I felt like giving up, but I knew I had to keep going. I had to be strong for my children. Life has a way of teaching us lessons we never asked for. When Chibuzo chooses to replace me, he thought he was trading up for something better. But little did he know that his new wife was not who she pretended to be. Her beauty and charm were like a perfectly crafted mask, hiding the lies and deceit that lay underneath. Her name was Amaka, and from the very beginning, she came to his life with a plan. Amaka wasn't alone in her schemes. She had a secret lover, Tony, who was a former employee at our company. Tony had left on bad terms, and I remembered him being bitter about not getting a promotion. He wanted revenge, and Amaka was the perfect partner to carry out his plans. Together, they devised a plot to siphon money from Chibuzo, to ruin him financially and take everything they could get. It started small, with Amaka giving Chibuzo business advice, suggesting he invest in certain projects or hire new staff that were secretly loyal to Tony. Chibuzo was blinded by her beauty and sweet words, never suspecting that his loving new wife was slowly digging his grave. As Amaka whispered ideas into his ears, he trusted her judgment over everyone else, even when the decisions were reckless. Before long, Chibuzo had made poor financial choices that weakened the company, one bad decision at a time. The real disaster hit when the government granted a large sum of money to his company for a major project. This project was supposed to secure the future of the business, bringing in more contracts and creating jobs. But the moment that money came in, Amaka and Tony saw an opportunity they couldn't resist. Amaka convinced Chibuzo that she could help manage the funds for the project, pretending that her business skills will speed things up and ensure the project succeed. He handed everything over to her without a second thought. That was the beginning of the end. Amaka and Tony stole the money and ran away with it, leaving Chibuzo to face the fallout. By the time Chibuzo discovered the betrayal, it was too late. The project collapsed, the company lost its reputation, and Chibuzo was left with enormous debts. His financial troubles became public, and he had to sell off assets just to keep from drowning. The business which he had destroyed my father's business for crumbled to dust in his hands. Amaka didn't stop there. As if stealing from him wasn't enough, she confessed something that shattered Chibuzo's already broken world. The child she had was not his. The pregnancy had been nothing but a trick to lure him into marriage, a trap that he fell into easily because of his greed and blindness. The real father was Tony, who had been part of the scam all along. The baby was just a bait to get Chibuzo to trust Amaka and give her everything she wanted. After she left, Chibuzo's life fell apart completely. He faced court cases, huge debts, and the shame of being a laughingstock. His health began to suffer, and that was when he had a stroke, ending up in the hospital. The young, beautiful woman he had brought into our home was gone, and he was now alone facing the consequences of his choice. In the midst of all this chaos, I couldn't help but think about how life has a way of humbling us. The man who once had everything, my love, a beautiful family, a thriving business, threw it all away for something fake. He allowed greed, pride, and lust to blind him. And now he was paying the ultimate price. Chibuzo's fall from grace was a reminder that sometimes the things we think will bring us happiness can lead to our downfall. When I heard he was asking to see me, I didn't know what to do. I stood there thinking about everything he had put me through. The betrayal, the neglect, and the pain. Should I go and see him, offer him some comfort in his final days, or should I let him face the consequences of his actions alone? The choice wasn't easy, but I realized that sometimes letting go is the only way to find inner peace. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about freeing yourself from the hurt. As I struggled to decide, I knew that whatever happened, I would no longer let the past control my life. So I went to the hospital. Chibuzo looked weak and sad, like a man who had lost everything. I sat next to him and said, "You made your choices, Chibuzo, and now you have to live with them. But I will help you because I want our children to know that it is better to forgive than to hold on to anger." As I left, I felt a sense of peace. I had chosen to do better, to rise above the pain. I had learned that not everything that glitters is gold. Life is full of ups and downs, but it is important to stay true to yourself and be careful who you trust. Even when people hurt you, you can still find the strength to heal and move forward. Life lessons. 1. Trust wisely. In relationship, trust is fundamental. Adaeze's journey teaches us to be cautious about whom we place our trust in. Blind trust can lead to heartbreak, as seen with Chibuzo's betrayal. In real life, it is important to take time to understand a person's character and intentions before fully committing to them, whether in romantic relationships, friendships, or business partnerships. This lesson emphasizes the need for discernment in trusting others. 2. Not everything that glitters is gold. The story serves as a reminder that appearance can be deceiving. Chibuzo was blinded by Amaka's beauty and charm, believing her to be a better choice than the loving and loyal wife he already had. His pursuit of what seemed like a better life led him down a path of ruin. It shows the importance of looking beyond outward appearance and material desires, as true worth lies in character, integrity, and the strength of genuine relationships. 3. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself, not just the other person. Adaeze's decision to forgive Chibuzo, despite the immense pain it caused, allowed her to find inner peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing the wrongdoings, but it is a choice to let go of bitterness and release yourself from the burden of anger. By choosing to forgive, Adaeze demonstrated that healing and moving forward are possible. Even after deep betrayal, it is a powerful lesson that forgiveness is as much for the person forgiving as it is for the one being forgiven. 4. Greed and betrayal can lead to one's downfall. Chibuzo's desire for more wealth, a different woman, and a better life led him to betray Adaeze and make reckless choices. In the end, his greed brought about his downfall, leaving him with nothing but regret. This story teaches that betrayal and the pursuit for selfish gain often come with devastating consequences. Staying true to your values, appreciating what you have, and acting with integrity are essential to avoid the traps of greed and deception. This story holds valuable lessons about love, betrayal, and the strength it takes to overcome life's toughest challenges. What would you have done in Adaeze's situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective could help someone else. If this story resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the subscribe button and share this video with friends and family so others can learn these important life lessons too. Together, we can spread wisdom and inspire more people to rise above the pain and find the courage to heal.